Y'all, this thing is friggin' massive. Like, it hardly fits in my light box, which needs much improvement because it keeps falling. So, I did not make a video. Well, I did make a video for last weekend, but let's just say it was bad. Light box kept falling down. I don't want to upload that. So, I'm doing this instead. My first commander class, Magmatron. But before we take a look at the big man himself, we must take a look at the package in which he was stored, which, oh my god. So, we got 3-in-1, we got all the dino modes, Beast Wars Universe Magmatron, we got Magmatron there, with his sword, his stuff, and who could this be now? Possibly Big Convoy? But then we got Generations, Transformers, you got all this, the mess that resides behind this thing. Got Dino mode, robot mode, blast effects, yeah, all the stuffs. So, now, it is time to take a look at Magmatron. See, that's the problem I kept running into last weekend. Way too much of Lightbox falling down. But let's pick up the phone and take him in for a closer look. We got wings, head, shoulders. You got all this. You got the arms. You got the legs. You got the waist. You got it all. Now then, let's go over accessories. So we got a sword, which simply pegs into his hand, and you can get him looking pretty cool, wielding his blade of power. See? Look. Cool. Alright. Next accessory that we have to talk about is... Let's just get this guy back into a just standard standing there menacingly pose. So we can discuss this. The shield. Why is that in frame? It's an old Lego car that I'm using to help hold this up. So, shelled. It is a shield. And so I'm pretty sure the arms are sculpted and designed to be like this, kind of like gorilla arms, but he does have bicep and wrist rotation, so you can get the arms to be normal, but you kind of need the gorilla arms for the shield. So you take the shield and peg it into this port on the side of his arm. Peg in. And it also has hooks that it clips into. But there you have shield. Shield. Alright. Now then. He does come with a set of what I believe are Siege Omega Supreme Blast effects. You got one big explosion, 3 of these little tip pieces, and then these all in separate sculpts. So he does come with blast effects, which is nice. Now then, let's do articulation. Head is on a swivel. Due to the way it transforms, it couldn't be on a ball joint. Shoulders rotate on nice ratchet joints. They go in and out. Previously mentioned bicep. Double bend at the elbow. Wrist rotation. opening hand and individually articulated thumb. If you move all this stuff out of the way, you do get a waist swivel, hips, really strong ratchets, kick back that far, go out on friction, thigh rotation, really good knees. But then on my copy, this knee is a lot looser than this one. But whatever. Then you get a really good ankle pivot. And you could unlock the back for a toe up if you wanted to, but that's not stable. So this guy's big. That's why I'm not doing any size comparisons. So we're just going to get directly into transformation. So first thing you're going to want to do, unpeg the plesiosaur, not the plesiosaur, it's the Elasmosaurus. So take that. Then these clips. So these black parts are clips. They're very strong. Like, very. Just unpeg that. Wriggle this out. Put that off to the side. Fix your light box. Fix your... I really need a better light box. Take this guy out. We'll deal with him later. Now, we will do the Giganotosaurus. So, take these 2 foot spikes and collapse them in like so. Take the heel, collapse it, then collapse it fully. Now this is very difficult to get out, so I recommend taking the sword, like the sword on the the flying one, shoving it in that hollow gap and pushing it out that way, because it will not come out if you try to get at it with your fingernails. I know from personal experience. It was a pain the first couple times trying to transform this thing. So, next up we do the back of the legs. So, unpeg this piston from that base and collapse it in. Then you unpeg this and collapse it into that hollow gap there. And that is what you would unpeg to get the foot going forward. Do the same thing on the other side, which I'm not going to do on camera. Done. Now, you can take this entire assembly, extend it. You want to make sure you extend it before undoing all this, because you might break a tab off if you don't. So, bring these pieces down, hinge them in, so that way they combine. Bring this up, bring this panel up, and this is the piece that you want to make sure rotates, because as you can see, there's a tab there that when you rotate this, that tab gets cut off. So if you rotate that in the wrong order, you could break a tab off. So then collapse that, bring sides in, bring out the neck. Now then, here comes the fun part. The frickin' belly. So, take this, unpeg the sword, you shift this up, shift this down, shift this out, there's a lot of shifting here, and then you gotta push this entire assembly down as you bring out these little struts. Come on. Come. Work with me here. There we go. There we go. Just like that. Then you can extend this entire assembly. So, dear Primus, getting that thing attached is a pain. I cannot do it for the life of me. So, I use this. One of the swords that detaches from the flying one's wing. Before you complain to me that I'm not saying the right name, I couldn't be bothered to figure it out. So, you bring this guy back in, peg in his back, bring the legs forward, collapse them, and now the fun begins. Make him do the splits, so that way, and get yourself as much clearance as humanly possible. So, you want to take this piece, shove it in there, and you do not try to push it in all the way with your finger. You want to take the sword, go near the base, push. And then it'll peg in. That's a really annoying process. So then you want to bring this down, bring this around, peg it all in. Make sure everything is in the correct orientation and location. When you attempt to peg chest in, bring legs down, make sure that locks in, bring out the arms, take the tail, there's a slot in there, that'll be much easier to see if you have it. I'll peg into that tab. And there you have a Giganotosaurus. It's easily the most annoying transformation out of the three. The other two are easy. So, Giga. Next up, Elasmosaurus. So, bring these down, bring these up, and those tabs go, those slots right there will go into those tabs. So just peg in. There we go. Do the same thing on the other side. That'll keep the biceps straight. So, next what you're going to want to do is rotate this bicep and then rotate this wrist. And then you see a slot there that tab will peg into. So, do the upper wrist, do the upper bicep first, then the lower, and peg it in. Now then, it does the same thing here, but instead the tab is on this side. So, just slot him into place. And then, take this whole assembly, you bring this out, rotate it, shift it, rotate it again. You want to make sure this side is facing forward. And then you take these pieces, bring them up. And that is part of the Elasmosaurus prepped. Now for this part. Collapse the heel handle, collapse the shield handle, bring these pieces out, make sure they're all nice and put together. Bring this up, but not all the way, because you're now going to combine the top half with the bottom half. Now, big old slots, big old tabs. You just gotta get everything where it's supposed to go. Crunch it all together. Bring this up. Bring the tail down. Peg base of the neck in. Articulate the neck. Come on. Boom. Elasmosaurus. Now, the flying one. So, bring the legs down, spread the wings, put the sword that you used to peg in the thing, bring this out, shift this up, boom, Pteranodon. I'm just going to call it a Pteranodon because that's what it looks like most. So here are the three dino modes, and these look good. I'm going to talk on them one at a time. So we are going to start with the smallest, the Skysaurus, or the Pterosaur, or whatever. So this guy is, I mean, he looks good. Like, on the ground, you can kind of get him to look good on the ground if you do something like that, but no. It's probably best to have him in the air if you're displaying these guys in their dinosaur modes instead of their robot modes. So, articulation, head on ball joint, can rotate, mouth opens to an unnatural degree. There's a hinge joint here. You get ball joint at these little things, which crack. So you get wing flap, pretty tight wing flap, swivel, you get these go forward, you get a bend at the midsection of the wing, ball joint at the leg, hinge at the knee, hinge at the ankle, and hinge at the foot. So he is not very articulated, especially relative to the others, but you can get this guy into some pretty good poses if you know what you're doing. Like, I'm working. Just let me work here. Say that's a pretty good I'm ready to fight pose. All right, now Elasmosaurus, the green one. I really, really like this guy. He looks really good. I like all the detail on him, and he's very articulated. So mouth opens, again, to an unnatural range. Hinge joint here, and then each segment at the neck has a hinge joint, which is connected with 2 mushroom pegs. So you can do almost whatever you want with the neck, which means he can look that's not even looking up, that's looking backwards. Same here, and work them hinges to get him looking side to side. Oh god. It's sniffle season. Now then, these pieces are supposed to move conjoined, but they don't really work on mine. So this moves up and down, ball joint here, hinge joint here. So he is articulated to a point. That's basically what I have to say about all the dinosaurs. Giganotosaurus, on the other hand, is a pain to get to, but god dang does he look good. Articulation, on the other hand? So head, does that mouth, meh. That is as far as it opens. It needed to open more. Ball joints at this, and then you got the legs, which are just robot mode legs, so they have robot mode articulation. Joint here, joint here, joint here. Tail can go up and down, and he has a tail wag. So, oddly enough, you can get these dinosaurs into some really good poses. Even this guy. So, that is the end of my review for this guy. But wait, there's more! Yes, we're talking about the third combine mode. Or the second combine mode. So, the Giga needs practically 0 preparation right now. So, we'll work on the elasma. So, separate it. So, bring this up, bring this up, bring this up, and separate them. Now, we get to work on this. So, bring these pieces down just to get them out of the way, and kind of act like you're changing this into robot mode. All the way up until the faithful point where you bring out these additional tabs and peg them into these shoulder struts. May Primus have mercy on our soul, on our sparks, because this is it's a mode. So then you want to arrange these kind of like looking like legs. We can do that later. Now, prep this half. It's pretty easy. Prepped. So, I forgot a step with the Elasmosaurus main body. You want to pull out this strut here. It's very hard to see in there. That strut. Now, we can bring in the Giga, and as you can see, there's a combined thing there and a combined thing there. So bring that down and peg. I recommend pegging it in to the back first because that's a very much tighter connection. Oh, crap. I forgot a step. You want to take these pieces and unpeg them and bring them out. That's a very important step. It helps to secure him to the Giga. So, peg it in. Make sure, I recommend, like I said, I recommend doing back clip first and then the front clip. And then these pegs will slide into ports. Those ports right there. So just slide that in there and peg it in. Slide that in there. Ow, ow, ow. Peg it in. Ow. Why? Why does my shoulder hurt? Whatever. Must have pulled it or something. So then, think you guys can guess what you do with this. You just smack it in there. Make sure all the tabs line up. Peg this in. That becomes the tail. Make that sit flush. And then bring these around to act as the rear legs. Rotate the wrist. Open the hands. You can shift this entire assembly forward. Do the same on the other side, which I will not do on camera because it is a pain. And now we can plonk him down, ensuring that all 4 feet are nice, level on the ground. Bring up tail, because that's tail now. Now then, there's one more thing that we gotta do. The Pteranodon. So, bring up this back flap. This tab will peg into a slot that's in there. So, rotate the wings and bring them up, just to kind of get them out of the way. In a sense. And then, peg him into there. And then there is a connection here. His neck will slide into there. And then his head will slide into there. Bring up the leg. Bring the wings down and back. Bring up the legs. Bring this down. Now that's supposed to peg in, but it won't because screw you. It doesn't want to peg in. Arrange the legs however you want, really. And boom. There is the Magmasaurus mode, as the instruction manual calls it. But what in the name of Primus? What in Primus's beard is this thing? I mean, it is solid. It does stay together, and all the articulation is pretty much the same from the Dynamo, so I feel no need to cover it. Alright. Final thoughts time, and you guys know what that means. Transformation time-lapse. That took forever. So, as an introduction to the Commander class, I'd say this is a pretty good start. I was hoping to get the Siege Jetfire reissue, but when I went to my GameStop and asked them if they had it, they said they'd sold it the day before I went. Whatever, that thing is massive anyways. I definitely didn't want to, but, like, this is a good figure. This is a really good figure. And if you have the funds, I do recommend it if you like Beast Formers. I don't even screw around with Beast Formers much, and I've been combining and decombining this thing more times than I can count. So that is all for this video. I will see you all in the next one. Goodbye and good night.